Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. It looks like Gen Z can't read. So that's we're going to talk about that in this video. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we both can read, just,
Yeah, and I think a lot of Gen Z can read, but it seems like the later Gen Z are coming into college. We didn't hear about this before, but we're starting to hear about it now. The college professors are kind of like not knowing what to do because these kids are coming in and they can't read. I want to know how they got into college.
Well, I want to know why they weren't sent to the Derek Zoolander Center for kids who can't read good and who want to learn to do other stuff good too.
Right. I mean, why couldn't it be the Derek Zoolander College?
Derek Zoolander College, where you can also learn your what was it, Magnum or Blue Steel? Blue Steel. Yeah, you can do that. So we're going to talk about this because, I didn't realize it was that bad. Our kids are fairly literate. In fact, our son, who's Gen Z, has a massive book collection. He loves to read. Both of our kids like to read. Our daughter reads a lot of manga. She likes to read. I blame TikTok. I think it's the TikToks.
I don't know. I don't know if it's schools. It's like it could be schools even just letting people get through without making sure. It's not even just reading. It's just comprehending what they're reading. I guess there's a big disconnect now, and there could be a lot of reasons for it. It could be, I do think, partly iPad generation mentality, but I think a lot of it is everything's just spoken to you. You can just watch videos. You don't have to read.
Well, okay, so that raises another question then. Is this sort of what's going on partially with the media, that people are consuming content via video instead of reading articles?
It could be.
They can't read the articles.
It could be, but you're talking those people that watch media, watch like videos and news and stuff like that, or read the paper. They're usually older.
Yes, they tend to be more literate, or at least pretend to be illiterate.
Let's be completely frank here. A lot of the people that are the most outspoken, like far extreme activists, usually don't read shit anyway or research anything. They just, so-and-so said, so it has to be true.
Well, maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is to make sure these kids are dumb so you can program them.
Well, people have said they thought like Common Core and things like that. It's easier to program and use drones than it is to critical thinkers. Like we were taught to critically think, to look at all sides and then, decide from there what our opinion was, not just to take everything at face value. But that was us and people before us. That's not, now.
All right, so let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and brands. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to More, M-O-R-E. I have to spell it out because you probably don't know how to read. M-O-R-E.clownfishtv.com.
I think our audience can read.
I'd like to think so.
Hey, look, there was a lot of people that couldn't read in other years leading up to this. Like I know that my mom told about people that her friends with her grandpa or with my grandpa that couldn't read, and that how they'd work with them to teach them to read. And there's different people that never had to, and because they'd be left school early or whatever, and they went to work and they didn't know how to read, but they learned how to do so. It's not a new problem, but I guess it's to a scale now. You didn't usually hear those people going to college and not being able to read, because you used to have to at least be able to pass the SATs, and part of it was reading comprehension. But now I don't think SATs required after COVID.
Yeah, that's part of it. And I think the schools are very permissive because they just won't push the kids through because they know that there are going to be problems if they don't. You're not allowed to punish children. You're not allowed to hold them back. You're basically just a glorified babysitter.
That's going to get worse because whether I'm hearing is true that they're trying to push through things that basically you can't you have to push them through worse than they were before. It's just going to get worse, not better. But I can tell you as someone who was working at the schools, like the kids would not do their lessons and they would just be given like a bazillion chances to do it. And I was like, we got a 0 if you didn't do your homework. They're like, well, you can do it. And you lose like, a point a day or something like that. It was like,
I think excuses. Yeah.
No. And I think they're going to be moving soon that they don't even dock you points for that. You have unlimited tries.
So this is coming from Futurism. Gen Z arriving at college unable to read. It's not even an inability to critically think. It's an inability to read sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. They said the final
waves.
I think
it's an inability to critically think, too, because they're so busy just not thinking and repeating what they hear without actually looking into it, that I think that critical thinking is something that's been stunted as well.
So the final waves of Gen Z, the youngest of whom are currently around 14, making their way through high school and into colleges and trade schools, some higher education instructors are noticing a severe lack of reading comprehension skills in their students. Schools, in turn, are finding the only path forward is to drastically lower their expectations for better or worse.
Yeah, so it's not concerning. People are going to college right now, right, to be professionals, and they're going to have degrees in things like psychology, education, things like that. But they have to lower their expectations for these people because they can't read. Do you want somebody who can't read being like somebody who's your tech in an emergency situation at a hospital? Do you want somebody who can't read is going to be your teacher for your kids? And that's the problem. And it's very concerning. It's not something that's lower expectations. This is a dire, drastic situation. Of course, again, not everybody's like this, but Gen Alpha's shaping up to be worse.
Yeah, I think because they're talking about the younger Gen Z. So yeah, Gen Alpha is going to be worse than this.
Yeah,
this
they
one,
like our kids even make fun of them that they can't read. I can tell you for a fact, because I have teacher friends, that some of them have left teaching because they can't deal with Gen Alpha. It's impossible between them and their parents. There's nothing they can do. It's like I can't deal with this. I'd rather do something else.
As Pepperdine University Lit professor Jessica Hooten-Wilson told Fortune in a recent interview, it's not even an inability to critically think, it's an inability to read basic sentences. Wilson's one of the professors who had to quietly lower her academic benchmarks thanks to the rise in barely literate Gen Z grads coming out of high schools. Wow. Rather than assigning reading outside of class, the Lit professor told Fortune she's adopted a kind of in-class popcorn reading, reciting passages together and discussing them line by line. Even that, unfortunately, might be a bit of a stretch for these students. Oh my God.
That's sad, because I was like, that's a nice adaptation. That's, as a teacher, that's a good adaptation the way she was doing it, because then everybody can be included in discussion, and you can pick up words.
That's kindergarten. That's first grade.
Yes and no. That being said, that's a stretch for students. No. Okay, at some point, give the damn kid an F. I'm sorry, at some point, it's not because they need special help or whatever because they're special. It's because they have not been forced to be accountable. Give them the damn F. I can tell you for a fact, my son was in college, and he would come home and tell us the stuff that he'd see over there. And he's like, Mom, people can't even write basic sentences. Everything's in lowercase letters. It's, punctuation's all over the place. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not saying my kids are geniuses, but comparatively speaking, our son was like, they were talking about how he should go into the writing track and be, into writing. The head of the department said they'd let him through if he wanted to, because he could write. Most kids can't even form coherent sentences.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, I told him before, I said in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? I mean, are you allowed to say that now? I don't know if you're allowed to say that now, but basically, if you've got any reading comprehension, if you have any basic literacy skills, you'll be fine. If we even use them. I mean, the way things are going now, it's like, the robots will do all the work.
Well, it's very concerning, isn't it? It's like they're dumbing them down so that it's easier to, make them the drones or whatever. I mean, I hate to be like that, but you have to wonder, because the school system is a joke. They're like, they dismantled the Department of Education. Yeah. Want to know why?
So this is the same professor. I feel like I'm tap dancing and have to read things aloud because there's no way that anyone read it the night before. Again, we're talking college kids. We're not talking grade schoolers.
Then you get a zero.
Even when you read it in class with them, there's so much they can't process about the very words that are on the page. My God.
Well, I think that's more to do with the fact that there's a breakdown in reading comprehension. And it probably has to do with the fact that they're used to just having everything read, listening to it, hearing it read to them, presented to them, like spoon-fed to them. I don't have to think.
So they said it's worth pausing here to point out you can't blame younger people for the struggling.
Yeah, you can to somewhat. I mean, I think it's a combination of many factors, but it's a many-faceted thing. But you have to do your bare minimum as a student as well, and they're not.
The school system is in shambles. Their education was bisected by the COVID pandemic. Well,
okay, but they were a lot. Okay, but when the COVID hit, these kids would be, except for the very youngest ones. Most of the kids that got impacted, that was only like 6 years ago. If you're 18, you were 12. You should have had some of these skills by the 6th grade, okay?
They said they were being reared in a world that's increasingly de-emphasizing reading in favor of videos, voiceovers, and other emerging forms of communication. That's true. I said in the past, this is, Timothy O'Malley, a professor of theology at Notre Dame. In the past, he'd assign anywhere from 25 to 40 pages of reading per class. Students would either do it or they wouldn't do it. Nowadays, that much reading would be unthinkable. 25 to 40 pages? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's it?
I read that for fun. I read way more than that for fun. But, it's just, again, he's a professor of theology. I'm sorry. Last I checked, theology is an awful lot of reading.
Yes.
And you can't even assign a bare basic amount of page reading to these kids because they won't do it. But again, that maybe instead of passing them.
Yeah. I mean, this is just crazy. Like, why are all these other countries, eating our lunch? It's because they're actually pushing their kids.
Why are their kids kicking their asses, and then they're getting like these big prizes for like teenagers coming up with these amazing new concepts and developments because they can read.
Today, if you assign that amount of reading, they often don't know what to do. He explained to Fortune, adding that most Gen Z students are skating by on AI summaries. They've been formed in a kind of scanning approach to reading. Well, that's the thing. It's like, why do I have to learn when the computer can just do it for me, right?
They're using ChatGPT to write their reports. Our son, again, he was in a group project and he was panicking because his grade depended on it too. He ran what they wrote through an AI checker. Almost everything they wrote was AI. The only one that didn't write was AI. So he had to go through it and try to like redo parts of it so that it wouldn't get kicked out by the professor and he'd get a bad grade because everybody in his group was just literally using ChatGPT to phone it in. Yeah,
and here's the thing. So when the robots do take over, you have no value. You're just the oil. You're just the battery. Because there's no function for you. You're not even useful for picking your brain about things because you don't really have one.
He would tell me how people were like flipping out because they had to write a 3-page paper and they had like 2 weeks to do it. I'm like, I write equivalent of 3 pages like a day.
I know, right? That's insane. Like, I mean, I'm starting to get a bigger picture here though, because a lot of the people that come after us, I'm like, do you not understand what we're talking about? Do you not understand what we're saying? It's in the write-up. And I'm like, my God, maybe they're really that stupid and they don't understand what we're talking about. They don't understand nuance. They don't understand anything. They're like, Reddit said was bad, so it's bad.
That's basically what we're at.
Is bad because Reddit said so. But I didn't actually read it.
Pretty much what Reddit says. I mean, but then you have to read it if it's on Reddit, so it wouldn't be right what TikTok
No, you can use a Google AI summary just to summarize the Reddit.
Well, they still have to read that though, unless it reads it to you. I don't know.
No, actually, I've noticed that too, and I thought it was for accessibility. But I don't think it's always for accessibility. There are websites out there that actually let you have the article read to you with an AI voice. And I thought it was like an accessibility thing. Like, oh, it's pretty cool. And I'm like, no, they're doing this because people are too lazy to read. And they're just like, they're spoon feeding it to them. It's like, okay, now it's going to be story time. It's always like a calming female voice. Like, in other news, World War III started today. And, yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
I'm just looking here, like if things. I mean, we're not talking every.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of them that are fine, but I was looking on here and trying to see what things that you can do, and they're saying on here if you have trouble reading, you could follow along with a digital book that's reading it to you while you read the book, and maybe you could like learn to understand what's going on by listening and reading at the same time.
We had books on records, guys. Remember?
Yes.
Okay, that's how old I am. Books on records. Let me explain to you what that is. So we used to have 45s, which were little itty bitty vinyls. I guess they still make those. I don't know. But they would come inside of a book with words and pictures. And you'd put the vinyl on the record player and you drop the needle on the record. I know it's archaic, but you would drop the needle on the record player and you'd follow along. It would read you a little bit of the story, and then it would go ding, turn the page, and you would turn the page, and then you follow along. That is how I learned how to read.
But it works,
I learned how to read from those books.
If you're having trouble with reading comprehension, even go find videos that are about. I mean, you don't have to tell anybody you're doing it. Go and find videos that are for like kids that are having trouble reading at a younger level.
At 52 years old, you're like, I can't read too good. I gotta go to the Derek Zoolander school.
No, I was saying, no, I'm serious. I'm dead serious as a teacher. I'm telling you. Like I know my daughter, she says that when she wants to learn other languages, which she was thinking about doing like linguistics and things like that. She says one of the best things you can do that she's found is that you go back to, the start, like I'm an adult and I want to learn, Korean or something. That if I would go watch videos made for kids where they show words and things like that, you could start with that and pick it up as if you're a child training your brain to learn more. I'm not saying go back to kindergarten, obviously, but what I'm saying is you could all be like, I'm going to go watch videos that are geared for, kids in 6th grade or something, and maybe I can learn some things from that to help improve my reading skills. Go talk to your teachers or something in high school, when no one's around, and say, hey, look, I'm having trouble comprehending. I'd like to do better. Can you, work with me on this? They'll be more than happy to help you. Well, most teachers that are good teachers will be more than happy to help you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shit teachers out there, which is a whole other video.
Well, I know how we could incentivize people better. We could start like a Squid Game type thing, and we could have a new game show. It's called Read or Die.
No, I know.
Basically, read what's on the board or die. So you better learn how to read.
Better than that? Do you remember Book It? Pizza Hut's Book It thing, where you'd read books and you get free pizzas? You get parent pizzas if you're a kid? They need to bring back that for high school level. Like, not just Pizza Hut, like places that are like different restaurants. They need to do, like, if you read so many books, you get a free meal or whatever. I guarantee you'd have a lot more people reading.
A free
food. Book It
like,
worked.
No. You need to do something with OnlyFans. You could call it Suck It or Fuck It, and
it's someone stripping as they teach you.
Just
how
somebody
to read.
strip. Yeah, like I'm gonna teach you how to read. So we're gonna put words on my bare boobs.
No, I was gonna say it's like the following the bouncing ball. It's like follow the nipple. The quick brown fox. It's just like touching the words.
Oh my God. Well, this is what's gonna happen, right? If these people can't learn how to read, they're going to be on OnlyFans.
Now, look, I'm not making fun of people who can't read, because there's a lot of people who can't read that do totally
I know,
fine.
but it's just, you want to talk about massive failure.
I'm just saying, you're talking about college. You're going to college.
You're going to college and you can't read.
Issue.
Like that used to be.
A lot of people are fine that can't read.
That used to be a thing. Like you could kind of skirt the issue. You always heard stories of people who are like, oh, I can't read, and then they're like, football players or whatever. It was always on sitcoms. Well, I don't know how to read too good. But I didn't want to lose my scholarship, or I didn't want to get kicked off the team.
Right.
Or
Well, I'm just thinking, colleges are breeding grounds for activist groups to try to recruit people. Well, it's easy to recruit people when they can't even think. Have reading comprehension and comprehend. They're too busy worried about that shit and not actually teaching people how to read.
I think it's all connected. I think this is intentional. I think we are deliberately being dumbed down as a society, as a culture. We're being dumbed down so we can be manipulated and eventually taken over.
Listen,
that's what I think. Is that too tinfoil hat?
I don't think it's to that level yet, but parents, look, you need to make sure you're on top of where your kids are. I know you're probably busy. I know, just even keep a roof over your head. You're all probably working like 3 jobs each, but you might have to take time to make sure that your kids are understanding what they're reading, that your kids can comprehend things. You're going to have
22-year-old, make sure your 22-year-old check on them. See if they can read.
If they're struggling with reading and writing, and they want to go to college, or you want them to go to college, then you really probably need to consider tutoring for them or some other form of something you can find online that they could do a supplemental to help, because we're getting our asses kicked globally, and part of the reason is our students can't even comprehend what they're reading if they can read at all. This is bad, very, very bad.
So it's bad. B-A-D-D. Bad.
Here's my nipple. B-A-D. No, sorry.
So,
you lost your train of thought. Sorry.
No, you said nipples and just all the thoughts went.
I didn't show many nipples. We're good.
No. So I am wondering, and this is a whole nother tangent, but at some level, do we just let Darwinism do its thing? Do we just say, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not fit as a society if we can't even get our people's reading skills up to.
I don't know which is worse. Let Darwinism do its thing and then let these people fail, and then we have nobody to take over for the next generation, or let them through and let them take over where they're at and then take over for the next generation and still not be able to do.
I think in some ways we're better off just ending it here. Like, this is a good place to stop.
I don't want to end it here.
We don't need another season of Stranger Things. We're good here.
I want to say I don't think it's an epidemic type level, but from what
Spell
I'm
that
hearing,
for me, please.
From what I'm hearing, it's more common than it's uncommon as far as kids not be able to read and write. I was hearing the horror stories from our son, and he's like, Mom, I would like phone in assignment. I would phone it in. He's like, I honestly didn't do as much as I should have for that assignment. And I'd get an A and be told it was the best in the class. And he's like, I know that was like a B or C level from when because they go to a cyber school. And when he went there, he's like, I would have got a C on that. Easy. He's like, I just want to see what would happen sometimes. And they'd give him an A. It was the best in the class. And he was like, seriously? I didn't even try because I know it wasn't great. But that's how we're at. And he's like, it's concerning. It's very concerning.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a person in that position, you know what? I don't necessarily think it is all the students' fault. There are things you can do. I've suggested some things. I'm sure if you go online or you talk to your college, they probably have programs in place. So they should. You colleges, you need to have programs if you don't already, where they can work with you to get you up to speed.
Programs like ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what they're going to use. But then you can't even read it well enough to comprehend to make sure it's actually making sense and factual either.
Oh, it can talk to you too. So
I'm just saying. I mean, there are things you can do, but it is definitely a concern.
Hey Siri, tell me a story.
Okay, pretty much. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, guys. I'm just like, whatever. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. All right, please subscribe. That's SUBSCRIBE.
They don't know how to read.
Then to learn how to read. I know it's hard. S is the one that looks like a little squiggly snake. It's down there on the button. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.